Who has been your biggest inspiration in your transition from corporate life to entrepreneurship?
My student training some students, and there was one person who was son of a farmer living in that rural area where there was no internet. That guy used to travel to his friend's place 10 kilometers away from his place and used to attend my sessions. He was the first one to place in TCS. So that became an inspiration for me.
What does work-life balance truly look like in today's corporate world? And do you think it is really achievable?
See, if we say that yes, we do have work-life balance in corporate, I think it's a lie. It totally depends on individuals. They have to set boundaries. They have to say no to their managers if they're asking them. Just a saying that we work 9 to 5, but we actually work 9 to 9.
So how can organizations create a culture that supports personal and professional well-being?
I'll tell you one incident which I've never spoken on public forum. I was completely depressed. I was suicidal once upon a time.
Oh my God.
I just thought that let's not continue this life. So what I did was I was continuously searching on Google the painless methods to end the life. Taken multiple counselings, but nothing worked out for me.
What steps do you think companies can take to prevent their culture from becoming overly toxic?
For each and every employee, if they give them mandatory me time breaks, if employees are happy, then companies will be happier.
So how does that shift happen? And most importantly, mindset change that has triggered after getting into this entrepreneurial world?
I think it's a 360 change because when we are employee, we just think about getting a salaries paid on 1st of every month. And now I'm literally scared of 1st of every month because now I am responsible to pay them. So there's a huge mind.
So folks, we are joined by Poorva Shrivastava, not in our virtual studio. Today we are in the real studio. And in the history of the Guiding Voice English podcast, this is the second in-person interview. However, first in-person interview in a proper studio setup. And let me briefly talk about Poorva Shrivastava. She's an accomplished edtech founder and former corporate leader with extensive experience in organizations like Accenture. And she's passionate about addressing workplace challenges. And now she empowers individuals to bridge the gap between corporate culture and entrepreneurial innovation through her ventures. And today we are going to have an interesting conversation on the topic at hand, Beyond the Paycheck, Unmasking Corporate Life and Embracing the Entrepreneurial Mindset. But before we get into our topic, here's an exciting twist as always. And again, we are doing something different. Today we are not doing a rapid fire round of random words, but we have come up with a crazy questions, like a set of crazy questions. So Poorva, I'm going to put you on spot really with some interesting questions. And in case if you feel uncomfortable, you can pause on. But I hope you'll be able to do really well. So if you're ready, let's get started with the crazy questions. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. So here comes my first question. What's one thing that you would do differently if you are born in the opposite gender?
Wow, I always used to think about this in my childhood when my dad used to tell me that you are a girl, you have to slow down and all of that. I used to tell them that why can't I be born as a male? So yes, one thing which I would really love to change if I was born in an opposite gender would be fearlessly work towards the dream and don't think about societal judgments, because I believe as a girl I have already done a fair job.
Absolutely.
But if I would have been born as a opposite gender, then I would take the advantage of few stuff which we think that we get scared of societal judgments.
Right. No, with the kind of work that you have already done, you're no less. You're already doing that.
Thank you.
So let's move to the next one. So what's your go-to excuse when you're late to a meeting?
Well, just now the excuse which I have given, traffic, the classic but the real one. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So let's move to the next one. If you had to live as an animal for a week, what would you pick?
I think it would be bird because I want to fly freely in the sky.
Wow, so nice. And which Bollywood movie could you watch 100 times without complaining? Or you can pick Hollywood also in the interest of global audience. I'm fine with both options.
Yeah, but I think Tare Zameen Par is
Yeah.
all-time favorite. I think it has given us a great lesson that if somebody believes in us, we can do wonders in life. And that's why I
Absolutely.
believe in my students also.
Absolutely.
So Tare Zameen Par is one of the movie I can watch anytime.
Yeah. It is one of my all-time favorites as well. So for those of you who are not from India, Tare Zameen Par features one of the iconic film actors in India, Amir Khan. So it's a must to watch, Tare Zameen Par. Okay, in case if you haven't watched, please give it a try. Nowadays, the content is available with subtitles and the captions as well. So don't miss it. All right, so let's move. And if you had to pick a celebrity to babysit your pet, who would it be?
I think I have two celebrities in my mind
Achha.
right now. One is Shraddha Kapoor, and another one is Akshay Kumar.
Uh-huh.
Both of them are really caring and sweet. So I think they would be the perfect one for this.
Okay, good one. I wish you all the best on that. And if you woke up tomorrow and realized everyone except you had become a robo, what would you do?
I think my passion is teaching. I'll start teaching them empathy and creativity so that they can be like humans.
No, that's a dangerous thing, Poorva.
That can be dangerous, but more powerful than humans, I believe. But
Yeah,
if I have the
they'll-
only choice left,
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing I could do to train them like behave like humans.
True. All right, so let's move to the next one. If your house had a secret underground room, what would you use it for?
That's an amazing question because I always wanted a place like that. So I will use it for brainstorming sessions because without any interruptions, I can utilize all my brains and think of more creative things in life.
So do you want to ask the same question to me?
Yes, definitely. What would
I'd
you do?
create similar setup for doing my podcast actually.
Right, without any interruptions.
Without any interruptions, so that I can get into that abscond mode from the family. Right
True.
now, I have a home office come podcast studio setup, right? But it has still some scope for noise and also I can really escape into that underground room without letting them know.
True.
Okay, let's move forward. If your life could be narrated by one person, who would you choose? Amitabh Bachchan or Tom Cruise?
I think Amitabh Bachchan ji anytime because his voice has gravity in it, right? So I think my journey deserves his voice.
Wow, I love it. And if you could create a bizarre new law, what would it be?
So it will be mandatory me time in workspace because we don't get that. And I think if we get that,
Yeah.
it will be much better for us to work in that.
Yeah, good one. I love it. All right, here comes the last crazy question. If you were invisible for 24 hours, what would you do? And don't say you are going to rob a bank.
Obviously, it must have been an easy option, but it's already not there in my list. So I would do two things. One thing, I would be invisible and visit all the schools in rural places and try to give them more opportunities. Second thing I would do is I would go back to my school time and I will kill all my teachers who have bullied me big time in my childhood and made my childhood traumatic.
Interesting. But because of them, we are here. All right. So wonderful. I loved all your responses from the crazy rapid fire round. And there is one more rapid fire round toward the end of the episode. So stay tuned. And first of all, Poorva Shrivastava, hearty welcome to the Guiding Voice podcast series. Thank you so much for being part of our journey in shaping the careers and lives of millions across the globe. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me here. It's all my pleasure. And I really want to have, unfiltered, candid conversation because people really look up to podcasts nowadays and they don't want to hear some basic gyan which people keep on sharing. So we will really keep it candid for the audience. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And before we get started, I would like to thank my friend Abhilek Verma for making this connection happen. Thank you, Abhilek. And with that, let's get started. So, Poorva, who is your guiding voice?
It's my inner voice shaped by my father because in my childhood, he was always my guiding voice, used to motivate me a lot. And now I don't have him in my life anymore, but his lessons which he has taught me still helps me to go forward in my life.
Okay. All right, here comes my next standard question. which is your success mantra? Talk to us about top 3 things that have contributed to your success so far.
I think it's the 3 C's which I always follow, and like consistency, compassion, and communication, because these 3 things really plays a very important role in one's success. I don't even consider myself as successful yet because there's a long way I have to go, but the journey which we go through while we are moving towards the success, that matters the most, because whatever you learn throughout, that makes you successful. So I have learned a lot of lessons. I have learned how to be curious about learning new things, how to be consistent, because if we are not consistent enough, then we will not get success. And at the end, communication matters a lot. There is a huge debate in the market whether technical people needs soft skills or not, they need better communication or not. There is one of my reel also which got viral, and people have trolled me badly for that because I have written on that. Even technical skills makes you stand out in the crowd, but soft skills makes you rich and
Right.
stand out. So we are doing this podcast because we can communicate things properly, and it's not about communicating in certain language, be it English or Hindi or regional language.
Yeah.
It's all about communicating your ask properly to your investors in business, to your managers if you are in corporate. So these 3 things really helped me to make my success mantra one day.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I loved the 3 C's concept. And with that, let's move to the next one. Like, who has been your biggest inspiration in your transition from corporate life to entrepreneurship?
My students, anytime, because whenever I used to hear shattered stories from my students, it always gives me a mission and vision to do more into my entrepreneurship journey. I would like to share one incident here when I was training some students. I was working in Accenture at that time, and there was one person who was son of a farmer,
Yeah.
and they were living in that rural area where there was no internet. That guy used to travel to his friend's place 10 kilometers away from his place and used to attend my sessions. And then out of all my students from that particular batch, he was the first one to place in TCS, and he got a package of 12 LPA as a
Wow.
fresher. So that became an inspiration for me, and I still remember that I was trying to send him some goodies because he got placed. I was not even allowed to send goodies to that place. So somehow I sent to his friend's place some mugs with a quotation written on it, and that also got broken because that place was into that area. And then he gifted me Bhagavad Gita one day. So my students' success is my rewards, and that really keeps me going into my entrepreneurship journey.
No, love it, because especially people from humble background, in case if you are taking our learning seriously and they're able to follow it, right, that gives immense satisfaction.
True.
In fact, I have similar examples. One guy, after starting this podcast, there was a small article in a vernacular newspaper about TGV, and that guy found about us and he sent an email, and he became part of the family, TGV family, and I offered him few sessions along with the help of my friends and all. And he used to feel so scared, so hesitant speaking in English. So believe it or not, in 3 years, fast forward 3 years, now he is pursuing his master's in the States.
Wow.
So that is the kind of transition that has happened. And internally, I vouched for an internship opportunity, and my friend said, okay, yeah, his attitude is good. Let me teach him on the communication part, that is taken care and all. But these kind of stories, right, that help us do more,
True.
be more, right? Those are real inspiring stories. Amazing. So let's move to the next one, right? So what does work-life balance truly look like in today's corporate world, and do you think it is really achievable? Because everybody talks about work-life balance. I have a different perspective about that, which I'll talk later, but I would like to hear from you.
See, if we say that yes, we do have work-life balance in corporate, I think it's a lie. Usually, it's not possible for us to get a proper work-life balance. It totally depends on individuals. They have to set boundaries. They have to say no to their managers if they're asking them to work beyond their working hours, if they're asking them to work on weekends. They have to set boundaries. But I think 99% of the employees are not able to set that because they're scared to lose their jobs. At the same time, companies also entertain and fascinate overworking hours,
Yeah.
and they give rewards to people who are working really hard towards their beyond their working hours and all. So this is something which both the parties, employers and employees, need to work out together. And then only I think we can get rid of this fact that we do have work-life balance. No, we don't have. It is just a saying that we work 9 to 5, but we actually work 9 to 9. When I was in corporate, that was the life. And now after becoming a founder, I work 24/7. So, but now I work on my own.
Right.
There is not someone sitting on my head asking me to do
Right.
it. Even if I want to take a break, I can take it any point in time.
Yeah.
So yeah, work-life balance is individuals' responsibility. They have to start
Absolutely.
setting boundaries.
I was about to convey the same thing because if I look back in the hindsight, right, 10, 15 years ago when I started my career, right, I used to work like 12 to 14 hours a day. And I honestly, I have not taken many leaves also, though I had an opportunity to take 20 to 22 leaves. Still, I used to take only 4 or 5 leaves because I was under the assumption that somebody is constantly watching us and we have to contribute more. And moreover, once you have that 4 or 5 rating, right, you want to retain that. And every year, once you get the 5 rating, next year you can't compromise. I cannot be a 4 rater or 3 rater. So likewise, the bar keeps on raising and we tend to contribute more and more. But as you said, I think it is definitely an individual's responsibility because companies can facilitate good policies and all, but it is up to us in terms of whether we can avail them at the right time or not.
True.
Awesome. All right, so let's move. Let's keep the ball rolling and talking about the recent tragic incident that has happened in India, like Atul Subhash's case. So how can organizations create a culture that supports personal and professional well-being?
I think this case is an eye-opener for all of us. When I heard that news, first of all, I couldn't believe it that there's one more person losing the life for the same reason. And his wife, Nikita, she works in Accenture, right? And I have also worked in Accenture, so I know the work culture. So it's not about any particular company's work culture.
Right.
It's all about giving them some support. We all are humans.
Right.
And we all have professional and personal lives. So if we get this type of mental counselings, free sessions from our companies itself, I think we could save more lives.
Yeah.
If in this case, Atul Subhash, he would have got some support from his company, I think we could have saved one life. I'll tell you one incident which I have never spoken on public forum, but today I think it's time for us to share this because one person who has taken his life away is not there with us to share what he could have done better.
Yeah.
But survivors can share so that it could save many lives.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one incident. I was completely depressed once upon a time. I have literally fought depression. Right now also I'm shivering while talking about it. I was suicidal once upon a time.
Oh my God.
Yes. And there was societal pressure. There was family pressure. I just thought that let's not continue this life. And at that point, at that moment, when person decides to do that, they think there is no one for them.
Yeah.
So what I did was, I was continuously searching on Google the painless methods to end the life. And there was a suicidal helpline. It just triggered on my screen and they told that don't take that step, but you call that number. I called that number. There was a lady on the other side and she just asked me, why are you taking this step? What happened? I spoke to her for 1 hour. And after that, I felt so lighthearted. Yeah. And that made me realize that was a need of an hour. That's Absolutely. It. I just wanted someone to listen to me. Yeah. Rather than, trying to take big steps which could end my life or which could take away the things which I have today. Yeah. I have a way better life today than I was even imagining. So everyone, whoever faces a low challenge in their life or they're going through something bad, just speak to someone. It could be your counselor. I have taken multiple counselings, but nothing worked out for me until I spoke to someone and spoke my heart out. So for companies, I think they should have these free sessions. If we are free enough, if we are free to speak our heart out with anyone in our company or with our friends and family who will not judge us back, then this will literally save us from big mental pressure.
Thank you for sharing so candidly. And let me talk about two people here. One is Malvika Bhuvan Sundar, whom we hosted on TGV Hindi, and she is also working towards suicide prevention cause. And recently we interviewed another guy, Praful Parmar. He is from Ahmedabad, and he is famously known as the listener man. All he does is he holds that particular placard somewhere in the public places, and it is written, the listener man. You can talk to him on anything. He patiently listens, because as you said in your case, I think 1 hour of compassionate listening has changed your mind forever, and today you are standing tall. You have achieved so many things at such an young age, right? So likewise, transformation can happen. All you need is some listening ears, right? And most importantly, people who have that suicidal tendency and all, they have to take a pause, talk to their best friends or whoever it is, take a break, because that particular idea of committing suicide and all, right, it won't be permanent. If you take a break for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and if you really get into a candid conversation, open-ended conversation with somebody, I think things will change. So wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's move forward to the next one. Like, what steps do you think companies can take to prevent their culture from becoming overly toxic?
I think giving them me time for each and every employee, if they give them mandatory me time breaks, that can really help people to be themselves. And second thing, some policies. Like I have some policies in my company, which is birthday leave policy, which we give. Mandatory leave on birthdays. And in terms of salaries also, if there is festival, Diwali, Christmas, Holi, we try to release their salary early so that they can celebrate their festivals very well. And right now, of course, we are a small company, so it's easier for us to implement these companies. But for big giants, it will not be possible. But I think free counseling sessions should be there for every company, be it big or be it startup, because this will really help. If employees are happy, then companies will be happier.
Absolutely. I'll again tell you about my professional experience. I've been with I worked for GE for about 11 years. General Electric is one of the world's most admired companies. You must be aware of it. So way back in 2008-9 timeframe itself, we launched an initiative called Employee Assistance Program. So wherein if somebody is going through that emotional turmoil, burnout, anything, they simply have to pick up a phone and call that particular employee assistance toll-free number. And all the details that they disclose that will be kept anonymous, and they have a listening ear again. Right? So again, those kind of things have also gone a long way, right? And how many employees do you have in your organization at this moment?
So right now we have 10 employees who are working full time,
right.
And we have 100 which are a mix of contracts and freelancers.
Wow. So you're not a small company now. Okay. All right. Now let's move to the next one. So you're one of the very few people like who have taken that leap of faith assumption in terms of shifting from corporate world, taking that huge leap into entrepreneurial journey, right? So how does that shift happen? And most importantly, mindset change that has triggered after getting into this entrepreneurial world?
I think it's a 360 change because when we are employee, we just think about getting a salaries paid on 1st of every month. And now I'm literally scared of 1st of every month because now I am responsible to pay them. So there's a huge mindset shift in a lot of things. My productivity has improved a lot. Logics and business thinking has improved a lot because now I think of things way different than I used to think of when I was an employee. The major change which I have recently, I have implemented in my daily routine is giving my employees some space. When I was in my early stage, for the first 6 months, I used to think why my employees are not able to think about my vision the way I am thinking. Why they are so cool leaving their work at 6 p.m. Even if there are escalations from the clients, if things are not working out, I get scared that what will happen next. I will lose this client if there are some spelling mistakes or major mistakes or minor mistakes, whatever. I used to get scared a lot. But my employees are very cool and calm. But then I have realized lately that that's fine. They are employee. When I was an employee, I was in the same boat. I don't care what my company is going through, if my company is going through a bad time or if my company is losing clients. What I cared was my salary to be credited on 1st of every month. they have the same mindset. So now I have changed this mentality to understand the difference between a founder mentality and an employee mentality. There will be a difference, and that's fine. They will leave work, it's fine. You have to motivate them by giving them incentives. You have to, because for an employee, money and respect, these two are the main factors why they work with you.
Yeah.
But for a founder, there are so many things. Sometimes you have to act as a employee also. Sometimes you have to act as everyone in your company as a founder. So now as a founder, I have to sometimes act as a receptionist also. I have to act as web developer also. I have to act as so many roles. So that's fine because I'm a founder. Your employees cannot be a founder, but founder can be an employee. So this is the great mindset shift which I have recently come across, and I've accepted it.
Okay. So wonderful. Let's move to the next one, Poorva. So what is one major mistake that people do when transitioning from corporate jobs to entrepreneurial roles?
I think it's about underestimating the emotional investments in your business. You know, we are emotionally connected with our business. And when we start our company, we think of earning money.
Right.
That's it. Because whatever salary we used to get from our corporates, the main goal why we start business is to earn the similar amount or more than that, or to become a millionaire or billionaire in a years of time. That is the mentality when we shift, but that's wrong. You have to understand that it's an emotional investment which you are doing when you're starting a company. You literally have to nurture your company as a baby, and you have to treat it that way. I'll tell you one incident. One of the book I was reading, and Bill Gates, he has mentioned one story of one of his business partner. So they were starting a venture during his initial days, and he was looking for someone who can help him build a company. He was working with a business partner. Someday, his business partner died out of suicide.
Oh my God.
And he was shattered. The line which he said still triggers to me. I am getting the similar amount of pain which I get once I lose my life partner. And yes, this is the kind of emotional investment you do when you are starting your company and you're starting your business. Money is a byproduct.
Yeah.
Success is a byproduct. But first you have to emotionally invest. And yes, that's fine. That is true that we literally get the similar kind of pain which we go through in breakups or losing your partners. We get similar pains in losing a deal or losing someone or something in your business. So that is one major mistake which we make. I have also done that in my initial days when I was shifting from corporate to an entrepreneurship, that I will be a free bird once I start my business, and now I don't even get time to breathe. Oh, that's fine.
You know, that is what is the reality, right? What people think is once you start your own venture, you'll have your me time and all, but that is absolute biggest myth. Wonderful. And thank you for sharing that as well. So we'll move ahead. And my next one is like, what skills from your corporate career have been most valuable in running your own venture now?
Stakeholder management, effective communication, networking has really played a huge role, and multitasking, because all the pressure which my boss used to put on my shoulders is now helping me to start my business and to scale it up, because we should know how to network with people, how to talk with people, how to build good rapport with your clients. So that is for sure helping me now in my business also.
Wonderful. Let's move to the next one. So if you could rewrite the rules of corporate culture, right? So what would be the top 3 things that you would change? Maybe during your initial days in the corporate, you might have felt, okay, probably this could have been done in a different way, something of that sort.
Right. I think companies should focus on outcomes, not on working hours. It doesn't matter how long the person is sitting at their desk, but the outcome, that matters. That's one thing. Second thing, lifelong learning.
Yeah.
There should be some, not the recorded courses I'm talking about, there should be some fun and engaging live activities like we used to do in schools to make our brain active. We as employees also need the same. So that lifelong learning kind of activities, fun learning sessions should be a part of all the companies. Employees will love that, and they will have some breather and space. And thirdly, me time, as I always say. They should have a mandatory me time breaks for an individual so that they can be themselves and then start their work.
I resonate completely with you on all the 3. And most importantly, the first factor, which you mentioned about, it is not the amount of time that you're spending, because somebody might be super efficient. They'll be able to complete similar activity in probably less than half the time or maybe less than 3 by 4th of the time. So everybody has their own pace of doing things. So wonderful. Amazing. So Poorva, this has been fabulous conversation so far, and it's time for us to add some more spice and some more excitement to the episode. So which means it's time for us to trigger this second rapid fire round. So shall we get started?
I'm ready.
All right. So here comes my first bullet out of the second rapid fire round. If you could have one gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say?
Okay. Dream big, start small, act now. Because people dream big, but they don't start. So you have to start taking actions. So for me, this mantra has always worked out well. Action speaks louder than words.
Absolutely. Concur with you. It is one of my favorite mantras as well. And with that,
Resilient.
superb. And biggest pet peeve about corporate culture?
Not focusing on outcome. Focus more on working hours. That's wrong.
Okay. What is the first thing that you do when you feel stressed?
I go to temple. I get peace there.
Awesome. One book that has changed your perspective on work?
It's Atomic Habits anytime.
One of my favorites again. So your biggest productivity hack?
I have started recently shifting and combining my similar tasks into batches. Like if I have multiple tasks on my plate, I will batch it to similar one major task, and that has really helped me from saving myself, working on multiple tasks. So it saves me from a mental load.
All right, got it. And what's one piece of advice you would give to your younger self when you first joined the corporate world?
Okay, that's an interesting one, and I was waiting for this. Don't chase for big buildings or big brands. Chase for learning and knowledge and good designations. Because I used to get fascinated with a lot of MNCs. My first company was Wipro 10 years ago when I started my career. And I was so fascinated towards their big campus. I'll tell you one incident which just reminded me of this question. I had this dream of working with Infosys just because they have a big auditorium inside. And I went there, I gave the interview, I didn't get selected. That was one only interview where I was not selected just because I wanted to work with Infosys because of that big dome which they have. But then later on I realized, and when I started working with startups, I realized amount of learning which I'm getting will help me in my career. So don't chase big brands or big MNCs, chase learning.
So true. Let me tell you my example without taking the company name. Okay, my previous company. Okay, it had about 10 to 15,000 employees. And earlier I used to have a perception saying that higher the employee count, the better the work culture and all. And the current company where I'm working, we have just 1,000 employees. And the culture is complete contrast. So whatever the impression I had, that has changed. And you're right. In terms of if you work for smaller organizations, you get exposed to so many things. You'll be able to learn nuances of the business, not just from your day-to-day learning aspect, but from every perspective. Amazing. And here comes my last bullet for the second rapid fire round. What is one electronic gadget or a fantasy gadget that you like to see or invent yourself other than time machine? And Doraemon door.
Yeah. I have similar to time machine, but it's not time machine.
Okay.
For example, what if we have a converter which can convert our thoughts into actionable plans?
Super.
A word kind of mind to plan converter. I think that will be a great stuff in this creative world.
All right. So moving to the next one again, let's flip back to the mainstream. So since we are recording this podcast in the last week of December and New Year is around the corner. So what is your resolution, and also do you believe in manifestation, and have you taken any resolution in the past and completed it, or is it wherein you take resolution but you could not implement?
I think there's a thin line between manifestation and delusion. So if we manifest something and we don't work towards it, do you think universe is going to give it to us? No, absolutely no. So, and in terms of manifestation also, I think we have to be very much particular about what we write, because that goes to universe and it gives, and that the same thing is given back to us.
Right.
One recent incident of manifestation I would like to share here. I recently participated in Mrs. India pageant where I became the winner. So I had manifested this. I had written it in my journal that I want to become a winner of a pageant this year.
Mhm.
I became the winner, but I became a runner-up because I didn't mention that I want first position there. So universe played with me big time. And later on, once I became a runner-up, I was trying to see and scold myself. I should have written first position there. So guys, if you're manifesting, please be particular about your words, what you want. So yes, and coming back to New Year resolution,
Yeah.
we all take resolution, and sometimes we achieve it, sometimes we don't. So for me, it has been a clear concept. If I'm not able to achieve it this year, I will work hard next year and I will try to achieve it in the coming years. But the journey I will work towards achieving that resolution will make me a better version.
Honestly, I've never kept any resolution so far. Whatever comes to my mind, I do it just like that. Okay, we'll move to the next one. So again, you're on the roll, like winning the title of this Mrs. India runner-up, right? So you're following your passion along with your career. So how are you managing both sides of it?
So it took me 10 years to realize that I can work towards my passion also, along with daily regime what we have, or I can say becoming an entrepreneur was a part of my destiny.
Right.
That I turned out to be an entrepreneur. My 10 years of corporate journey helped me. Walking on the ramp was my childhood dream.
Wow.
Since the childhood, I had this dream to just walk on the ramp once in my lifetime. So this year, I had this dream and I decided to work on it, fulfill it. And luckily, I participated and I learned a lot during my pageant. And now I am equally, because my purpose is to serve audience and serve my community into education through empowerment, which I will continue to do so because my purpose is clear. Like I have a mission for next year that I'm going to empower to provide free education and jobs to 1 million people in 2025. I've already collaborated with multiple NGOs for the same. And I'm really looking forward to that. But at the same time, I enjoy my part-time shoots also because that gives me happiness and I can live a younger Poorva through that.
I wish more power to you. And do let us know how TGV community can contribute to that, because we are also on a similar mission to shape the careers and lives of millions across the globe. So on that note, let me ask you one last question. Like, what will be your advice to those who are aspiring to make big in their careers?
Just dream big and don't dare to listen to anyone in this journey. Whatever you are perfect the way you are. Believe in yourself more than people start believing in yourself.
Yeah.
So
have
that's
that particular conviction and go ahead.
Yes.
Amazing. I loved talking to you. And how is your experience being hosted on The Guiding Voice?
I think I don't need words to describe the experience. You are very cool host, and the hospitality which your team has given to me today is absolutely amazing. And the work which you are doing for the community by spreading so much awareness about different topics. So you really deserve kudos for that. And I really wish you good luck in your journey.
Thank you so much. And on that note, let me thank Abhilek once again for connecting us both. And folks, before we head into the trivia section, here's a quick request. In case if you have enjoyed the conversation and found it useful, request you to share with at least 3 of your friends or colleagues who would also like TGV, The Guiding Voice. Now, it's time for us to hop into the trivia segment. Having had amazing conversation with Poorva Shrivastava on employee well-being and also so many aspects of career and dimensional shift from a corporate professional to entrepreneur, I thought I would present you 2 lesser-known facts about the companies that are really doing well with the employee engagement initiatives. And the first one in the list is Patagonia. You know, Patagonia has unique employee well-being initiatives, and it has been offering on-site childcare since 1983 and on-site childcare at its headquarters in Ventura, California. And the unique thing about this holistic approach is that they provide a family-oriented atmosphere where employees can bring their children to work, fostering a work-life balance that very few companies can match. So that is one thing. And second thing is, which I like the most, is about paid environmental activism time. You know, there is a lot of emphasis on CSR, right? Corporate sustainability part and all. And now that sustainability is not an option, but it is a mandate. I think these guys are doing very well in terms of offering their employees to take up to 2 months off with the pay to work on the environmental campaigns of their choice, showing a commitment not only to their well-being, but also to their values. And last but not the least, Patagonia has just 4% employee turnover rate in an industry where the average is 16%. And this is attributed to their emphasis on purpose-driven work and fostering a sense of community within the organization. Second company that I would like to talk about is Salesforce. And again, Salesforce is also driving some unique employee well-being initiatives. And the first one is, which grabbed my attention, is Ohana culture. Salesforce incorporates the Hawaiian concept of Ohana, which is nothing but family into its, means incorporating family into its corporate culture. And this philosophy emphasizes mutual care and support among employees, treating everyone as part of an extended family. Very unique concept, right? And then wellness reimbursements. So employees receive an annual wellness reimbursement up to $100 per month for health-related expenses, and which can include fitness classes, mental health therapy, and even meditation apps. In fact, in the organization where I work also, we have this meditation app for free.
Very nice.
And the last fact is that Salesforce has mindfulness zones in its offices. So which means it includes guided meditation during work hours and encourages a digital detox day. Again, a beautiful concept, right? So where employees are asked to avoid emails and meetings for one day a month. And in fact, this particular initiative has boosted their productivity and reduced the burnout. So these are the two things which I wanted to present as part of trivia section. Likewise, if you guys are aware of any other companies which are doing really well and which are driving unique initiatives to promote their employee well-being, do let me know. If you're watching this episode on YouTube, you can comment there. Or if you found this episode on social media platforms or audio platforms, you can comment there as well. I would love to see what you guys are going to comment. And folks, that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in and also for being part of our awesome TGV family. So until next time, take care and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now. See you all in the next episode with another amazing guest. Take care. Love you all. Bye-bye.